going down, squad? How are we doing today? We got a Tuesday looking at us dead in the face. We're almost halfway through the week. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We got some news today. Not necessarily 49ers news, but there is a correlation, and it has us asking the question. At least has me asking the question. What happens first? Does Deebo get paid first, or does Jimmy get traded first? Which is which? Because we still right now, right now, we still have national media. Well, Jimmy might start. What are we talking about? Do we listen to coach? And I'm admittedly, we keep the tinfoil hat on. We filter it through the tinfoil, make sure, what are we talking about here? We getting coach speak, we getting GM speak, or we getting real speak? But we still, today, have national media talking about, well, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to start? Ladies and gentlemen of the SDS, Jimmy Garoppolo will not be starting a game for the San Francisco 49ers in 2022. So the question becomes, when does Jimmy Garoppolo get traded? But before we get into all that good stuff, shout out to SDS. Welcome all the gang. We see the squad out here. Let's go. You know the vibes. Dropping SDS in the chat. If you're vibing with your boy, smash that like button. You already know. You already know. Shout out all the SDS. Good to see you guys. Vibes have been litty in the SDS. Breaking news. SDS is an official company. Can you believe it? We're official, like a referee with the whistle. We got a LinkedIn page. We got it all. Let's go. SDS, we're official. We got an official company. Very excited for the continued growth of not only the SF Niners, which is, of course, surrounding the San Francisco 49ers, but you guys have inspired me. The SDS is such a movement that it can go beyond what it is now. Now, we talked about, again, if you guys were on live yesterday, you guys know the vibes were insane. The probably most wholesome live ever in the history of lives. It was that good. But again, the SDS is going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to develop, branch off, do other things. So really, really excited about what we're going to continue to do here and how we're going to continue to grow. Very excited about it all. I don't know. Where is everyone? Smash that like button. Hopefully get some of them in here, because let's talk about some of the stuff that we got going on today. Coming to you guys a little bit later than I normally do. We normally go live around 1:30. Obviously, the schedule's all out of whack, but it's all good. We're still going to talk 49ers football, all that good stuff. So back to the original question at hand. What happens first? Let's see what you guys think in the chat. Does Deebo Samuel get his contract extension before Jimmy gets traded, or does Jimmy get traded first? Or are there some outliers out there who actually still believe that Jimmy Garoppolo could be the San Francisco 49ers quarterback in 2022? I want to see what you guys think in the chat. Drop it below. What are we feeling? Does Deebo get paid first, or does Jimmy get traded before Deebo gets paid? One of the things to keep in mind is Deebo's extension, Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, from everything that we've heard and have come to understand, the two don't relate with one another. It's not like the 49ers are waiting for Jimmy Garoppolo to clear his contract off the books and they can't extend Deebo Samuel. If they were to extend Deebo Samuel right now, they could keep his cap space for this year, the cap hit, relatively manageable. They could, I believe, even keep it the same from everything that I understand. What's good, Turk? So it's not like there is a ton of like red tape in regards to the situation of, well, we got to move Jimmy first. No, we don't. San Francisco 49ers have the opportunity to sign Deebo Samuel to a contract extension when they would like to. We understand when they would like to. We've heard George Kittle talk about it. We've heard Fred Warner talk about it. We've heard Kyle Shanahan talk about it. We've heard everyone talk about it. We understand. The 49ers like to operate within a window of time. Now, maybe we've seen it actually kind of backfire, where the waiting game has actually maybe hurt them more so than anyone else in the league. You had George Kittle talk about it. He said, if it was up to me, I would have signed Deebo Samuel to a contract extension in season last year. Like, okay, we've seen enough. Deebo Samuel, Wideback, carrying the San Francisco 49ers on his back. George Kittle said, I would have paid him. I would have paid him in year. We wouldn't have let it get to this point. And unfortunately, we understand the 49ers did not do that. So as we continue to roll, Terry McLaurin, scary Terry of the Washington Commanders, inks his deal today. It's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. He got paid per all the other NFL wide receivers across the league. Jesse says first, Jimmy gets traded. Second, Deebo signs his extension. Arturo says Jimmy goes first, then Deebo gets paid. Boomer says Deebo isn't getting an extension. Makes more sense to tag him. So Boomer's of the mindset, well, maybe Deebo Samuel isn't in the long-term plans of the San Francisco 49ers. So what do? You force Deebo to play on the last year of his rookie deal. At the end of his rookie deal, you franchise tag him, and then you trade him. So a tag and trade type situation, which, like, to be in all honesty, if Deebo Samuel, again, we heard the report. We didn't even talk about it yesterday. Like, we literally didn't even talk about it because we didn't care. But we did have Jeremy Fowler come out, of course, national reporter, NFL reporter, come out and say Deebo Samuel has not rescinded his trade request. Well, what does that mean? It means nothing's changed. It didn't imply necessarily, because he went on to say that he doesn't know if it's changed, but up until his knowledge at this point right now, it has not changed. Okay, so we got an update that there's no update. That literally happened on Sunday. We got an update that literally nothing has changed. That was the update. Hey, update, nothing's changed. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you for that groundbreaking piece of information. Nothing has changed. Okay, cool. But if the 49ers do not see, or Deebo see each other in the long-term plans and growing together, paying Deebo, having him being a franchise component of contributing towards division titles, NFC championships, and ultimately, hopefully, a Super Bowl win, then they could do this. They could say, all right, then we're going to play you out on your rookie deal. We're going to tag you at the end of the year, and then we'll trade you. That way, the 49ers are in control the whole time. I don't think that necessarily lends itself to the best possible outcome for the locker room, for the 49ers, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. But it is a range of outcome. That's where Boomer's kind of headed We'll see what happens. Justin saying Jimmy gets traded first. Uh, Jimmy gets traded first. Deebo gets paid first. James is saying Deebo gets paid first, then Jimmy gets traded afterwards. But it does feel like the majority of the is Jimmy our quarterback? I don't think he is. Like, he's technically on the roster, but I think the 49ers have made it abundantly clear, whether it's coaching, whether it's mandatory minicamp attendance or lack thereof, it just doesn't feel like Jimmy Garoppolo is here to stay. Jimmy Garoppolo is openly talking about how he would like to see something happen quickly. Okay. Uh, Man Walton says Jimmy's getting traded first. What's good, Insight? Says congrats on the business, brother. Much love, hope all is well. Appreciate you, Insight. What's good, Joey? Hey, quickly, complete squirrel. We're going to go straight squirrel zone. We're going to go straight squirrel zone. Completely not, this wasn't even part of the content for the day, but we're going there. The PokeNiners was a hit. Shout out Joey for helping get this off the ground. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the PokeNiners was a massive success. And I think we need to really get more going. I think we need round 2. Joe, I don't know if you're down or not. If you're up for the task, because this is your creative work. Because if you guys aren't aware of what the PokeNiners are, this all started because I had a typical ADHD brain fart and called Charvarius Ward Charmander West. I can't explain to you where that came from, but it happened. It happened. It turned into a Pokemon card, and then Joey turned it into a whole set. And the set was phenomenal. We got people talking about they want these printed. I mean, I don't know, Joey. And he killed it with the names, with like their strengths. He killed the whole set. Killed the whole set. We might need the second edition. We might need the second edition because these were fire. Absolutely fire. Again, complete squirrel. Has nothing to do with what we're talking. I just saw Joey, and it just like, oh, we haven't even talked about this. Legendary content, Joey. I don't know. We might need the second edition because it was fire. It was fire. Would absolutely love to see it. See, I think Joey, we got to put our heads together here, and we gotta come up with something. I think we kind of stumbled onto something. We might need to have a meeting of the minds here, Joey, and see what we could do. But shout out Joey, dude's been pumping out content. Great 49ers content. So no pause. Arturo's trying to catch that George Squirtle. Bet. Bet. But anyways, back to the original topic at hand. Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, this came out a couple days ago about Jimmy Garoppolo's status. He's on pace to be throwing. And as soon as he starts throwing, man, as soon as he starts throwing, I think the phone is going to start ringing. The Carolina Panthers have made it abundantly clear that Sam Darnold is not in their plans. They hate Sam Darnold. I'm not sure I've ever seen a franchise openly just crap on their quarterback as much as I've seen the Panthers. They have made it so abundantly clear that Sam Darnold is not that guy, regardless of how much they gave up to go get Sam Darnold, how much they're paying him. It does not. You have Robbie Anderson threatening to retire on Twitter. I guarantee you that has something to do with Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold's not making too many friends with the Panthers. And then obviously we understand what the current landscape is with the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks need a quarterback. Geno Smith, not the answer. Drew Lock, probably not the answer. Would Baker Mayfield be the answer? It might be an upgrade. I would say it's an upgrade. I think we tend to forget that whether you like Baker Mayfield or not, he was playing pretty well before he tore his shoulder up. And before he tore his shoulder up, the Browns were winning games. Now he might not be the best leader, locker room, whatever, but he was playing pretty well. And all things considered, he would be an upgrade over Geno Smith and Drew Lock for the Seattle Seahawks. I think I've seen it quite a bit that 49er fans would actually be open and welcome Baker Mayfield slinging it around up north in Seattle. I think that would actually make a lot of 49er fans happy because there's a sense of confidence that comes from that. So we'll see what happens there, but the quarterback market still exists. It's been obviously a much debated we've talked about Jimmy Garoppolo so much this offseason, but we've done a really good job of really not talking about him since before the draft, after the draft. Oh, look who it is. Let's go. Chat legend. What's good, DJ? Good to see DJ. It's been a while. Let's go. Squad. Good to see DJ. And do what he says. Smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it. So when we look at the landscape currently, Panthers need a quarterback. Seattle needs a quarterback. And frankly, the Browns need a quarterback. We have Deshaun Watson in his hearings right now. Let's go, DJ. Smash it. Smash that like button. I see about 60 people watching. You know, we should have 60 likes, right? That's how it works. That's how it works. Shout out, DJ. Good to see you, man. But when we look at the quarterback landscape, you got Deshaun Watson in hearings right now. But I mean, you tell me what you think. But it's starting to appear like Deshaun Watson's about to get clapped for an entire year, 2 years in a row. They paid him $250 million guaranteed just for him to get clapped for the entire season. It's become abundantly clear that a suspension is headed for Deshaun Watson, like from the league. It's to be expected. And as of right now, it's to be expected to be an entire year-long suspension. Well, let's just take that apart. Let's say Deshaun Watson does get clapped for the entire year. Let's take a further step back. The Browns have a good roster. They have a good offensive line. They probably have the two best running back tandem in the league in Chubb and Hunt. They have young talent at wide receiver. They got my boy out of Purdue in this draft. You got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's going to take a step forward. You know, they lost. There's no OBJ anymore. There's no Jarvis Landry, but they still have quality talent. Schwartz is, I think, going to be a good receiver. They have decent talent around them. And guess what? They're going to be a run first team, West Coast style. And they need a 1-year band aid. Just 1 year, right? Because Deshaun Watson theoretically will be returning from a NFL deemed suspension next year, 2023. So, seems like a perfect opportunity for the Browns because, again, they're going to look so stupid. They're already going to look so stupid with, oh, we got Luke in here. Let's go. OG's in the building. We got Travis in here. Let's go. We got some OGs. We got double Travises in the building. Let's go. We got some OGs in here. We got some OG. Oh yeah. Don't forget Njoku. Njoku's nice. So I really do believe that the Browns do want to win. They don't have any draft capital. Guess what? They gave that draft capital up to get Deshaun. So losing doesn't benefit them. They're kind of in the same boat as San Francisco 49ers when they went and gave up all their draft capital to get Trey Lance. You don't have the silver lining. Well, if we suck, we're going to get a good draft pick and we're going to be able to get a blue chipper and we're going to be able to add him in here. No, you don't have any draft picks. So there's no consolation prize. There is no consolation prize for the Browns to lose, which makes them desperate. Same thing with the Panthers. Matt Rule wants to keep his job. Scott Fitterer, I believe, has job security as their GM, but Matt Rule wants to keep his job. Guess what? If they were to keep Sam Darnold, Matt Rule's probably fired mid-year. It's that bad. So low key, the San Francisco 49ers, again, it's been hotly debated. We've had people in our chat. We've seen it across Twitter, especially when it was the hot and heavy days of the Jimmy Garoppolo news cycle of why the hell is Jimmy Garoppolo still here? Cut him, cut him, cut him. We don't need him. Cut him. Eat that $7.5 million. Cut him, cut him, cut him. I know you guys remember that. There was a big push from a lot of fans to just cut Jimmy Garoppolo. I will, I guess, remind and be like, I was one of those people that was like, listen, I understand the level of impatience that we are getting here, but at the end of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo is an asset. Now, he might not be a highly valued asset in your eyes, but it is clear that the league views him maybe not a top tier starting quarterback, but a serviceable starting quarterback. Say what you want, he wins games, and at the end of the day, ultimately, that's what we're trying to do in the NFL is win games. So with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think the 49ers, again, we talked about it. It was a rough go. I know you guys remember. Like, it just felt like we were like, what the heck is going on here? You had the surgery, and we were just over it. Like, because I think we were all bracing. Right before free agency kicked, I had my templates made. I had my breaking Jimmy Garoppolo got traded templates made. I already had my drafts set up. Like, so all I had to do was literally hit send. I had the copy written out. Like, I had it all. Like, I was ready. All I was ready to do was hit send on all my Jimmy Garoppolo was traded. Like, I was ready. And I know you guys were ready. And so when it didn't happen, he had the surgery, put everything on pause. By all accounts, sounds like the 49ers were very close, if not in the middle of processing a trade of Jimmy Garoppolo. We understand the surgery just killed everything. And so there's some angst that built up. But now the patience, I think we're seeing it kind of come to the fruition that we saw back a couple months ago. He is an asset. There are still quarterback needy teams. And luckily for the 49ers, There are 3 teams that need quarterbacks. 2 viable quarterbacks that are available for what the market would consist of. Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo. So that actually benefits the 49ers to a certain degree. What are you doing? You go see mommy? Yeah? You wake up? Yeah? Why don't you go see mommy? You want my stuff? Yeah. Hi. Should the 49ers trade Jimmy Garoppolo now or should they sign Deebo first? Yeah, totally. Hold on a second. Kiddo woke up from his nap. So anyways, I think as it stands, and shout out, we're getting some numbers up. What's good, LeBron? What's good, LeBron? We're going to take a quick break to remind you to smash that like button. Let's go. We're getting some numbers up. Let's go. But let's keep smashing that like button. Maybe we'll get some more people in here. But as we continue to talk about the current landscape, it actually is benefiting. It is actually benefiting the 49ers to be patient. Again, we remember at a certain point, it didn't feel like a benefit. I know we as content creators were getting, we're like, when is this just gonna happen? When are we just gonna rip the Band-Aid off and move on? But understandably, turned out to be, I believe, the proper decision to wait, to kind of force the decision to be made to just pause and move throughout free agency, continue to build the roster with Jimmy Garoppolo's substantial cap hit. The 49ers did it. They did it. They were able to build a competitive roster, add decent depth across the roster with Jimmy Garoppolo's salary still affecting the cap. So now with the patience, now clearly it didn't help them in the draft. They weren't able to recoup draft picks. They weren't able to leverage that into other players that they could have had in the draft. But maybe there's an opportunity where they trade Jimmy for a player. You make a nice player swap. Maybe there's a position where the 49ers feel like they could get better at. Maybe there's a center out there that is, we have positive projections of what Brendel could be, but he is a bit of a veteran. Maybe you can leverage Jimmy into a young, talented center that could maybe come in and fill a need, or just trade him for future draft picks, clear the money off the books, and move on with your day. Now, what do you guys think is the most viable landing spot for Jimmy Garoppolo? Do you think the 49ers are going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo? Is it more likely that he goes to the Panthers or potentially the Browns? Very, very interested to see. Oh, Travis is thinking the opposite. He's saying no team is going to trade for that $27 million contract, which I do agree. With. I think the 49ers are going to have to eat some of that. They're going to have to eat some of that contract in order to facilitate a trade. I agree. Coming off surgery, again, we understand, like, Jimmy isn't this, just gem of a quarterback. He has redeeming qualities. He's capable. He can win football games, but he's not perfect. He has his flaws. We just had Julian Edelman just basically trash Jimmy Garoppolo's mentality. I mean, luckily for Jimmy, he kind of dispelled some of those notions of kind of pulling himself out of games because he did play through what was a torn UCL in his thumb, sprained shoulder in his throwing arm. So he did kind of a better job of kind of dispelling some of those things. But I do believe that a team isn't just going to take over that $27 million contract. I believe the 49ers are going to have to pay a portion of it in order to facilitate the move. Um, I agree with Travis that other teams would rather he gets cut. But again, if he gets cut, that means Jimmy's free to sign wherever he wants, which doesn't play into the 49ers' hands well because they don't want Jimmy to go up north to Seattle. And if one of these teams just sits on their hands and waits for him to get cut, he's not going to the Panthers. He's not going to the Browns. The two teams that need a quarterback the most will not get the services of Jimmy Garoppolo. So they would uh have to trade. So Travis thinks they've overplayed their hand. I don't necessarily agree, but I hear where he's coming from because I understand. And it could be a range of outcome too, where maybe that does happen because ultimately the 49ers can carry Jimmy basically right up until the 53-man roster cut deadline, which is like literally the week before the season starts. And if they do that, then that's tough not only for Jimmy, but it's tough for any other team to try and learn a playbook, learn a team, learn player tendencies. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo found his claim to fame with the 49ers after getting traded mid-year, coming in 2 weeks after being here, and going on a 5-game winning streak. DJ says, shout out my son Michael. Smash that like button, SDS. Whoa, woo. Absolutely. Shout out Michael. LeBron saying he thinks we release him as well. Could definitely be a range of outcome. Luke says, if the trade offer is right, I think the 49ers would be willing to eat a little of the money on Jimmy's contract in order to make the deal happen to the Panthers or the Browns, either way. And I agree. I think that's what it's going to ultimately come down to. We actually have a Panthers fan in the chat. So actually, Jordan, you can provide some insight and some perspective because you are our resident Panthers fan. He says Panthers apparently won't pay more than 5 million for Baker. I don't know if you guys remember, but as soon as it was announced that Baker was going to be looking for a trade, the Carolina Panthers immediately came out and said they weren't interested in Baker Mayfield, like instantly. Then they walked it back because they realized that screwed their leverage, I think, in potentially pursuing another quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, because we understand how these deals work. You don't want to be just with your back against the wall, and you don't want to have the leverage to be able to lower the price or balk at certain demands. And if they were to pigeon themselves into not being in the Baker business, there's no other quarterbacks available. So I think that's why they immediately came back out and they're like, oh, we wouldn't mind. But you also had Baker come out and say, I have no interest in paying with the Panthers. They both at the same time said there's no interest when all of this came out. You had the report come out from the Panthers saying we have no interest in Baker. Baker's camp put out a report. We have no interest in getting traded to the Panthers. I don't think there's mutual interest there. I think that's more just media smoke and mirrors and more leverage play. So I don't necessarily think that the Baker Panthers combo is totally viable. It could happen. You never say never in the NFL, but I don't think it's viable. I don't think that happens. And so in regards to where the 49ers go with this situation, it's going to be very interesting. I feel like this situation, the Browns could be a viable option. The Browns have some 49ers connections, but you also have the McAdoo connection, offensive coordinator for the Panthers, who runs a scheme that fits what Jimmy Garoppolo does. So Jimmy fits both the schemes for Panthers and the Browns. Now we just have to wait and see how desperate either the Panthers are or the Browns are, or if they balk on the 49ers and they just say, bet, what are you going to do? You going to keep them or are you going to cut them? So it's going to be very interesting to see. DJ says 95 people in here, 49 likes. Smash that like button. Listen to the man. We could probably get to 100. We could probably get to 100 likes. Should be easy. Should be easy money. So we got Travis saying at this point, it's Browns or bust. I don't think the Niners make it happen, and Jimmy G becomes a $27 million backup. I don't think Jimmy is going to be a $27 million backup. That would be crazy. I think that would be wild. J-Tan saying Panthers more desperate. So who do you think is the most desperate team in this situation? Are the Panthers the most desperate team? Are the Browns the most desperate team? Or are the 49ers the most desperate team? Feels like the Seattle Seahawks are kind of just chilling. But who would you guys consider to be the most desperate team in this quarterback purgatory for all three teams? It's like the Spider-Man pointing meme. You know what I mean? They're just like, or that episode from The Office when they have their fake guns and they're like, oh, they're just like, they're pointing them at each other, like who's gonna make the first move? Like that's kind of what it feels like. It's like, who's gonna make the first move? Oh, hey now, who's gonna go for Jimmy first? And then Panthers and Browns are like, oh, well, you got to cut Jimmy first. It's like, what's it going to be? Meanwhile, Seattle Seahawks they're just watching. They're just waiting because they're like, oh, if you cut Jimmy, then we'll just bring him up north. So it's an interesting situation. It's an interesting dynamic. You have three teams that seemingly have this level of desperation. Russell saying Browns are the most desperate. Panthers for sure. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be very, very interesting. But I do think we will get some movement. We're about almost exactly a month out from training camp. We're almost exactly a month out from training camp. Jimmy Garoppolo should be preparing to throw any day now. Deshaun Watson is in the middle of his hearing, which will likely end in basically come to a suspension, potentially a year-long suspension. We understand the Panthers do not believe in Sam Darnold. Matt Corral isn't that guy yet. So there's a lot of moving pieces here. There are a lot of moving pieces. Jesse says, my honest opinion, other GMs know Jimmy G can't suit up and participate in camp. If he gets injured, that $27 million becomes guaranteed. I just don't think our leadership would choose to let him on the field. No way. No way Jimmy Garoppolo steps foot on the field for the San Francisco 49ers. No way. No way. There's no way that Jimmy would be able to, because you're right. If he gets injured and he's on the roster day one of the end of this season, that's guaranteed. That's guaranteed. And I don't think we want to see that. I don't think that would be of the best benefit to the 49ers. So ultimately, lots of decisions to be made. Going to be very interesting to see which domino falls first, because it does feel like a domino effect. It's again, we're back into that situation. We remember what happened. Matt Ryan got traded. Deshaun got traded. It would just felt like domino after domino affected the trade market. Carson Wentz got traded. So many quarterbacks have been getting traded. It's not even a big thing anymore. And we saw how those dominoes affected everything. Well, those dominoes have been set back up. And now we're just waiting to see which domino actually falls first. Is it Deshaun getting suspended? Probably the first domino to fall. But what's the corresponding moves? Is it really going to be Jacoby Brissett? I don't mind Jacoby Brissett, but I don't know if the Browns believe in him that much. So gonna be crazy. Only 40 likes away from that 100. Let's get it. Let's get it. But not only with not only with Jimmy Garoppolo is, again, the ongoing question of the offseason, but what's going down with Deebo Samuel? Does Deebo ultimately get paid? And does he get paid like a scary Terry? Again, this is the list of the 49ers, the wide receivers who have gotten extended or just brand new contracts, traded, whatever. I mean, you start at the top of the list. Devontae Adams, which by I think most of us would be considered the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. 5 years, 142 millions. That's a lot of quiche. Tyreek Hill, 4 years, 120. AJ Brown, drafted in the same class as Deebo Samuel, actually after Deebo Samuel, traded to Philadelphia, then signs a 4-year, $100 million contract. Stephon Diggs gets extended 4 years, 96 millions with the Bills. Cooper Kupp in division, 3 years, 80 mil. Terry McLaurin today with the Washington Commanders, 3 years, 71 million. I believe the average for Terry today came around 23 million per year on average. Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, 3 years, 60 million. So the moves have been made. The market has been set. What happens now? Oh, I saw this. I saw that. I don't know. When was the last time a wide receiver won MVP? Because if Brandon Ayuk's put enough MVP numbers, I feel like Trey would get it before Ayuk. I think that's the only problem. Is this our troll in the chat? Trey Lance has Colt McCoy written all over him. What? I mean, if you're gonna troll, you could troll better. I think that would be my biggest advice here. If you're gonna troll, like at least make it believable. You know what I'm saying? At least make it believable. Maybe a sliver of rationality, maybe. But do you, boo boo? It wouldn't be a live chat without a troll, that's for sure. That's not the one I wanted. He said, "Yeah, Brad, the neighborhood troll." No mind. Hey, we gave him his shine. We gave him his shine. Oh, look who it is. The GOAT. The GOAT. What's good, Aponte? What's good, my boy? Shout out Aponte. Hey, hide your kids, hide your wife. Word on the streets per Jason Aponte. State of the franchise might be back tomorrow. I don't know. Jason said the streets are talking, baby. Jason said the streets are talking. State of the franchise might return for its streets is saying. Hey, they talking, baby. They might be back tomorrow. I miss my Aponte, bro. I miss my Aponte. It's been too long. Shout out the homie. Shout out Jason. The other Jason, Eliberry? Sorry. But appreciate that, man. Hell yeah, my boy. You know the vibes. We don't know what else to do other than just work. That's the vibes. That's the vibes, man. But hey, keep an eye out. Word on the streets. The streets are talking. The streets are talking. Oh man. Wake up, honey. Spicy Aponte in the building. Let's go. But today, in perfect timing, because both Jason and I are big Terry McLaurin fans. I think it's one of the things that really bonded Jason and I together is before, like, because we met in 2020 at the Senior Bowl. So McLaurin was already in the league for a year, and we realized that we were huge, both Terry McLaurin fans coming out of Ohio State. And it was not a popular opinion because you had Parrish Campbell and you had Curtis Samuel, both who were considered far and away better prospects than Terry McLaurin. And then me and Jason were like, nah, nah, it's Terry. Hey, look at the money. Money don't lie. Money don't lie. But Deebo Samuel now enters the mix. Does Deebo Samuel get paid? Does he get the contract he wants? Does he get that 25 million on average? Does he get that 4-year 100 milli? I don't know. I don't know because it still feels like that's kind of the sweet spot. I really feel like Deebo Samuel, his agent Tory Dandy, they're looking at the AJ Brown deal. I really think that's what they're aiming for. 4 years, 100. You get the 4 years, you get that triple digit number, that 100 just looks better than 96. Looks better than 92. Get that 4-year, 100 milli. I think that's what they want. Now, will the 49ers acquiesce? That's the big question. That's the big question. 68 likes, so we're almost. Oh baby, 69 likes now. But we're our first we got a like goal today. We're trying to get to 100. I think we get to 100. I think we could get to 100. I think we could do it. But again, we talked about ranges of outcomes with this Deebo Samuel situation. It doesn't the technically I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to occur. The 49ers should lock up Deebo. The waiting game, the back and forth, hopefully leads to Deebo getting paid because just like George Kittle spoke to on Bussin' with the Boys, trading Deebo now ain't gonna do nothing. And if you were to sign Deebo, or let me say that again, not sign Deebo, force Deebo to play this year on his rookie deal, oof, that might send shockwaves through the locker room because we understand, the players understand, there is a finite opportunity in regards to getting your money. And if Deebo is forced to play next year on his rookie deal and gets hurt, God forbid, tears something, breaks something, there goes his value out the door, 1 year older, more wear and tear on the body. That is not what we want to see because I don't think that would translate into, hey, we're big energy vibe people here. We want good energy and vibes within our team and within our locker room. Forcing to play Deebo Samuel this year on his rookie deal after what he did last year, the vibes won't be high. The the vibes won't be high. I promise you that. I promise you that. And that has when you have a guy like Deebo who is a transcendent player within this locker room, a player that all these players rally around. That's just bad. That's a recipe for disaster. So the hope is that the deal gets done. And now we put it to bed. We go into this year happy. We get Deebo signed. We get Jimmy traded. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? We're only 24 away from 100 people. We could do it. Only 24 likes away. Again, if you're lurking, it's okay. Just a little boop. Just a little boop. As JC would say, when you smash the like button, little bread confetti falls down. So I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but hey, go test it out, see if it works. So, man, I think though the biggest thing that we want to see is it all get settled. Just get settled. Just I know as a content creator, we don't want to be talking about this no more. We really don't. Just want to start to theorize what the offense could look like. Trey Lance. We could theorize about Trey Lance just because we don't necessarily know yet. Is Jimmy going to be here? Again, like I said, literally, I heard today on First Take a national analyst sitting at their table having a debate talking about like, well, Jimmy G could still start. Like, no. Again, I have no ill wills towards Jimmy Garoppolo, but that ship has sailed. that ship has sailed. And as long as he is on this roster, there are going to be people who don't follow this team like we do, who don't watch every press conference, who don't grab every piece of 49ers content that is out there, read it, listen to it, digest it, and formulate opinions. These are people that are just like, oh, Jimmy's on the roster. So if he's on the roster, he would start, wouldn't he? No. No. And again, I got nothing wrong with Jimmy. I think Jimmy will find some success. I think he can. I don't think he's a ultra bum like a lot of people think. I think he's, again, has some redeeming qualities, but I think that ship has sailed long time ago. Long time ago. Jag says, how much more is wideout pay versus wide receiver pay, in my opinion? I'll be honest with you. I would imagine if I would imagine being a wide back is actually a detriment from contract negotiation standpoint. Because if your benefit is to be kind of a jack of all trades, you have the ability to be a running back. I actually think that could hurt your value because, again, you're now thinking of him partly as a running back. You're now having to project out, okay, what's the long-term solution here? What's the long-term outcome? Is he gonna be able to stay healthy? Is he going to be able to be a wide back? Are we gonna use him as a wide back? I don't think so. I actually think wide back would actually be more of a detriment to his salary than just being a wide receiver. Because we're look at the landscape. Just being a wide receiver is obtaining lots of money. And I actually believe if you were to kind of pay him as a hybrid, it would actually hurt his value. And I think that's kind of what maybe happened in this process is like maybe they tried to pay him like a running back. And he was like, "Oh, hell no." So we'll see. I would imagine he would get more as a wide receiver, to be honest. Or there is maybe an incentivizer where, say, he hits certain milestones, whether it's carries, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, that adds more money to the top of his contract. I don't necessarily see it being something as, you know, because we know, hey, running backs are getting the shaft. They are not getting the money. They are not getting the value that the wide receiver position is. So that's why I would see the wide back as being more of a detriment than anything else to his overall value. Because when you put on that cap, you're looking at it and you're like, ooh, if Deebo's going to be running in between the tackles, just getting rocked by linebackers and defensive tackles, we know Deebo Samuel does not shy away from contact. Now you put him in the middle of the big dogs, and he's constantly running head to head with 315-pound defensive tackles. And we know he's not going to shy away from contact. That doesn't benefit him in the long term, doesn't benefit the team in the long term if he actually gets hurt. So I actually think he would get paid more as a wide receiver. But you could do something, I would imagine, where you could incentivize carries, you could incentivize rush yards, so you don't have to pigeonhole him. You know what I mean? You could still have that opportunity to use him as a wide back, but maybe add some incentives, whether it's rushing, carries, total yards, total touchdowns, things like that. But like I said, I actually think he would get more value as a wide receiver. So ultimately, we are at that stage. We're a month away. We are a month away from training camp. It means we're getting close. We're getting close, but I don't know. I don't know what the timing looks like. I don't know what the timing looks like. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. But again, we asked the question earlier. Maybe we'll reset because we have a little bit more people in here. So let's do a little bit of reset. We've talked about it. We've conversated about it. We've went back and forth. But what happens first? Jimmy Garoppolo traded, Deebo Samuel signed to an extension. Which happens first? Drop it in the chat. We're gonna re-ask it because we got more people in here, and we're only 18 likes away from 100. But which occurs first? Jimmy traded. Sounds like a lot of you guys think he's cut. If you think he's gonna get cut, say he's gonna get cut. Or does Deebo get an extension? Or some of you don't think he's gonna get an extension either. I'm curious to see. So right off the bat, the Panthers fan says he's going to get released. DJ says Jimmy traded, then Deebo signed. Deebo will sign first, according to Lake City Fresh. Ooh, Tristan's calling for a cut. Gold Blooded says tough one. My gut tells me Jimmy is cut right before Deebo extension. I know I would say the 49ers don't want this to happen. I would say they don't want this to happen, which is probably the most likely outcome if Deebo or not Deebo, but Jimmy Garoppolo does in fact get cut. I swear this is knowing the 49ers luck. This will bite the 49ers in the rear. Can you imagine losing to a Jimmy Garoppolo-led Seattle Seahawks 2 times a year? Not saying that would happen, but just the thought process of it. You know us fans, we get hyped up. We get in our feelings. The second that happens, they're going to be calling for John's head, Kyle's head. How could they cut him? How could they let him go to Seattle and do this to us? You know that's exactly what would be happening here. You know. You know. So ultimately, barring timetable, I feel like Jimmy has a shot to get traded. At what cost? I don't know. At what value? I don't know. But it does feel like Jimmy will get moved. I feel confident that he will get moved. I know not all of us believe that. But I do think a range of outcome does exist where he does potentially get cut, but it's the last outcome. I think the most viable outcome, Jimmy gets traded first. Deebo gets traded on the eve of camp, first day of camp, maybe a day or two into camp. That's kind of how I feel it going. Because if a team is going to trade for Jimmy, they're going to want him ready to go for camp. They're going to want him in the building. They're going to want him learning the playbook. They're going to want him getting mental reps. Even if he can't totally get out there on the field, they're going to want him to get those mental reps, start to learn his teammates, start to kind of check out the vibe of the building. You're not going to want to wait. You're not going to want to wait. Right. We don't want Jimmy in Seattle. We don't. You could absolutely despise Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't want him in Seattle, especially for free. Especially for not getting any return on that investment. Don't want that. Brian says, been telling you the Browns feels like the best choice for the 49ers. Feels like the best choice. Feels like get Jimmy to the Browns. Send Baker Mayfield to Seattle. The Panthers are stuck with Sam Darnold. Matt Rule gets fired mid-year. And that's how it goes. You want to talk about the dream scenario, though. Don't give me an opportunity to talk about my dream scenarios, because I will. I will. Dream scenario? Jimmy Garoppolo for Brian Burns straight up. Who says no? No one. It happens. Get ready, Jordan. It happens. Could you imagine? This is a bit of satire, but could you just imagine that? Could you imagine? Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Burns, straight up, done deal. On to the next. 49ers, our championship. Let's go. We to the moon, baby. Would never happen. Literally never happen. But I love to dream. So don't kill my dreams. I think if we had to talk destination, though, I wouldn't mind sending them Jimmy to the Panthers, because I feel like you could get some good return from the Panthers. I feel like you could work something out. But we'll see. We'll see. So ultimately, lots of questions remain. We're kind of getting back into that mix because, again, the dominoes are set up. Now we're going to see which one falls. You got the Deshaun domino, you got the Baker Mayfield domino, you got the Jimmy Garoppolo domino, and you got the Panthers domino. What are they going to do? Could we see a 3-team trade? 4-team trade? What if they just all rotated quarterbacks? Like Sam Darnold goes to the Browns, Baker goes to Seattle. Seattle kicks us. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. But it would be interesting to see if that could be a viability. Oh, baby, only 13 away. We got 13 lurkers in here. We're not getting off this stream until we hit 100 likes. We're not getting off this stream until we hit 100 likes. We got some lurkers in here. SDS lurkers. Shout out to SDS lurkers. All you got to do is smash the like button. That's it. You don't have to comment. You don't have to say nothing. The only contribution is just liking the video. That's it. This would be my favorite, though. Oh, boy. This would be my favorite. If you sent Darnold to Seattle, imagine the ghosts that he would be seeing with Bosa, Kinlaw, Fred Warner, Aziz. Whoo! Good old Jimmy Ward action. Oh, quick. Oh, only one away. Only one away. Ooh. Hell yes. Hell yes. PokeNiners loading, baby. PokeNiners loading. Let's go. Hey, we did it. Shout out the lurkers. Shout out the SDS lurkers. We appreciate you guys. Shout out DJ, man. Love having DJ in here. It's like he helps us herd everyone in the right direction. Shout out DJ. Good to have you in the stream again, my boy. But yeah, man. Lots of questions remain. It's really the only remaining things that the 49ers have. What's going on with Jimmy? And do the 49ers sign Deebo Samuel? Gonna find out. But let's take a little turn. Just because there's so much conversation about Trey Lance still. I want to know, if you're trolling in the chat, what is your basis for Trey Lance being a bust? Like, what is everyone's? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Sam Darnold coming out of USC, bust. I was banging the table, bust. Paxton Lynch coming out of Memphis, screaming at people that Paxton Lynch is a bust. Screaming, like arguing with people. No. Paxton is good. Sam is good. No. They have qualities that make them look good, but they are not good. I don't see it with Trey. Do I see Trey as a finished product? No. I see Trey as we talk about it all the time. We use the analogy of like a ball of clay. He has all the raw physical tools, it sounds like cerebral qualities that you're looking for in a processor, someone who picks up the playbook, those types of things. But he's just inexperienced. Does that mean he's a bust, or he just needs experience? There's a range of outcome where the experience doesn't translate into the potential that we see. That is a viable range of outcome. But is it the likely range of outcome? When you pair him with George Kittle, when you pair him with, hopefully, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, TDP. Legit defense. Like, the 49ers do not have to put it on Trey's shoulder. They don't. Go back to the 2011 San Francisco 49ers. Would you rather have that Alex Smith, the 2011 version of Alex Smith, again, not good, serviceable, but not good? Ooh, we got a new drop. Hold on one second. I'm just saying, like, feels like the 49ers. Ooh, which DM did it go to? Trey Lance doesn't have to be perfect. Trey Lance doesn't have to be. Oh, hell yeah. That's spicy. Yes. Let's go. Y'all ready for this? Are you ready for this? Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Brandon Ayukachu. Wide receiver, length 6 foot, weight 200 pounds, route technician, allows receivers to make quicker cuts, which will give your wide receiver a higher percentage chance to rip through coverages. Overdrive. The receiver attacks opposing DBs with a lightning fast release. Oh, that's beautiful. That is freaking beautiful. Great work, Joey. Great work. Phenomenal work. Amazing. This is art. This is art. Some people don't enjoy art. That's fine. But this is art. Ayukachu, I choose you. Ayukachu sounds good too. Oh, shout out Joey. Hey, Joey's a legend, bro. Make sure you're following Joey. Niners at Niners analyst. Make sure you follow Joey. Bro's one of the most underrated content creators out right now. It won't be for long. Guarantee it. What's Corey saying? Since Mac did it last year, Lance is going to be expected to win at least 10 games, especially considering the roster he's on. Hard to get around it. But I think that's a range of outcome. I don't think that expectation necessarily is going to be too much of an issue. I really don't. Because, again, thankfully for Trey Lance, 49ers and football is a team game. Just ask Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, Jimmy was both instrumental in winning games, but also instrumental in putting them at a disadvantage. It was like a double-edged sword. Like, he would do really good and put them in positions to win. He would make, throw bad turnovers, make, bad decisions, and then come back and win the game. Like, it was this ebbs and flow with Jimmy. But the reason why the 49ers were able to come back and storm through the gates last year is because of their defense. The 49ers defense was huge for the 49ers getting to the playoffs. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. If Trey Lance can play within the structure of the offense, take care of the football, there's no reason why the 49ers can't win games, especially with a potent running attack. Yak gods they got Ayukachu. Like, no other team, no other quarterback has an Ayukachu. Are you kidding me? Look at this card. No other quarterback in the NFL has an Ayukachu. Trey Lance has an Ayukachu. Guess who Trey Lance has been hanging out with the most? Ayukachu. Guess who's probably going to feast this year? Ayukachu. Guess who's out of the doghouse? Guess who mastered their trainer? Ayukachu. Ayukachu, they try to put him in, that Pokeball, a.k.a. the doghouse. He just broke free. He said, nope. Nope. So, I'm pretty excited. I think 10 games, absolutely reasonable. You have a win now roster. I think we've talked about it before. 49ers defense has an opportunity to be one of the best defenses in the league. So, defense to me alone could win 6, 7, 8 games. We've seen it before. The 49ers offense just does not show up. They're able to muster a couple field goals, maybe one touchdown, but the defense does the rest. So I think 10 games is reasonable. I think 10 games is reasonable. Jordan, Big Jordan wants the Hufanga card. This card's sick. The name's sick too. Ayukachu. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, Ayukachu's sick. Ayukachu's gonna go crazy this year. He's definitely leveling up this year. So I don't know. I get skepticism about Trey Lance. I get concerns about Trey Lance, but the like saying it with your chest, like bust, I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like I'm not again, as I'm surrounded by 49ers gear, you know, I'm not above like Trey Lance struggling. Like he's going we have seen quarterbacks time after time after time in their first full year as starters have bumps and bruises. That is not like a crazy thought process. The problem is that the people who expect him to bust when they see the natural struggles and they see the natural ebbs and flows in his game, anytime he dips down, they're going to toot their horns and be like, "Look, I told you he's a bust. See, look, he threw an interception. He's a bust. I told you." It's like, and that's the problem. And it can go both ways, where you have people like, oh, future Hall of Famer, top 5 quarterback. If he doesn't come out and perform like that top 5 quarterback right away, those same people are going to be like, was I wrong? Maybe he's not that guy. And then they start doubting him. You have to understand, Trey Lance has the skill set, the intangible, the cerebral ability. You just need to let him grow. And when he dips, dip with him. When he skyrockets, skyrocket with him. But you got to ride the roller coaster, baby. It's about the motion in the ocean. Ooh, chicka. So I'm not too worried about it. I don't see the same things that I've seen in what I call insta busts. Like Sam Darnold to me, just I didn't see it. I didn't see it here. And with Trey, I see it here, but I think with Trey, his biggest thing is just being confident in himself, confidence in his new mechanics, confidence in his teammates, in his locker room, just confidence. That's it. And if he can gain those confidence by getting reps, then I think everything falls into place, and we aren't having this conversation anymore. But just like we know, confidence matters. And if he can stay confident, then we're good. We're gooch. We're Gucci, baby. So, and again, like we've broken down. You go back to the Texans game. Trey did really good things in the Texans game, and he did really ugly things in the Texans game. But guess what? They still won. That should be your baseline. That should be your baseline. Just go back again. Part of the argument today on First Take when you had Sam Acho kind of banging his chest for Trey Lance of like, he's going to take these next steps forward. And they're all like, well, is he? Like, well, is Trey Lance really going to take that step forward? I mean, he barely beat the Texans. They were down at halftime. He couldn't even, they weren't even up at the Texans at halftime. Like, bro, y'all remember the week before the 49ers played the Texans in a must-win game to make the playoffs? The Texans routed routed Justin Herbert and the high-powered Chargers. Routed. Multiple touchdown victory just that week before. Oh, but it's the Texans. Use your context, bro. Ooh, you were down at halftime. Yeah, the offense was god awful as a whole, including Shanahan. It's just ugly. I was in the stadium. I was sitting in the lower bowl, corner of the end zone. Like, what the hell is this offense? What are we watching? Just run the offense. Quit this Trey offense hybrid thing. Just run the offense. Guess what? Came out in the second half, started running the offense. Everything settled down, started making better reads, making better throws, making better plays. Settled in, won the football game. So, but I don't expect Trey to be perfect. I don't expect like Justin Herbert, like Patrick Mahomes, because everyone wants to call him Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is a rare breed. Patrick Mahomes is a rare breed. And he was a rare breed at Texas Tech. You could see it at Texas Tech. Trey Lance could have something similar. But again, the inexperience is what is kind of hampering him. He just needs reps. He needs to build confidence. He needs to get out on the field and do it, know what to do, and just be confident within himself. When he can do that, that's when Trey Lance. I'm a true believer that Trey Lance is kind of he's like a vibe guy. Like he's a big rhythm guy. You get Trey in rhythm, partly responsible of Kyle Shanahan. You get him in rhythm. You get him because he's a rhythm thrower. He's got the rhythm hop. He's a rhythm thrower. And I think his game is very emblematic of that. You get him in rhythm. You get him in rhythm and play action. You get him in rhythm in 5-step, 7-step drop back situations. You just get him in a rhythm. You build the confidence around him. He will flourish. But if you have this like disjointed, like you can get him out of rhythm and he won't look so good. So I think it's everyone's got to rally. Everyone's got to rally. What's good, Bailey? Bailey says the thing is in 2017 when Patrick Mahomes got his first start, he only beat the Broncos. I think it was 2018 he got his first start, but splitting hairs. Got his first start. He only beat the Broncos by 2 points, and the Broncos weren't good that year. So I really don't understand the whole Texans thing. Well, the whole Texans thing is also kind of to your point, a little bit of an irrelevant situation because we all know if you've watched enough football, literally any given Sunday is the truest thing. That's why, like, when we do our like schedule prediction shows, like in my head, I'm like, there's got to be at least 2 trap games. 2 games on paper where you're like, there's no freaking way the 49ers can lose to this team on paper, but it happens every year with every team because it's any given Sunday. You don't know what the vibes are. You don't know what the travel situation's like. You don't know how this team's going to react or show up. You don't know. You just don't know. Sometimes, there's guys on the other side of the football where on paper doesn't look great, but they're getting paid millions of dollars too. And maybe on that day, you get their best game. And that best game can translate into you losing or you not playing your best game. Just because on paper it doesn't translate well doesn't mean like, and so again, that's all part of the context. I think we can all understand, at least in the SDS, right? That we're good. Like we understand on paper, we have a good roster. If the 49ers didn't have a good roster, they didn't have a good foundation, They didn't have any of that. Then we'd be having different conversations. Because, like, let's say if Trey Lance was on the Panthers right now, potentially, or a team that just had really poor footing and structure, front office structure, coaching structure, poor weapons around him, all the pressure literally on the quarterback, then the conversation for concern rises. But right now, he's got a great team around him. Great defense, special teams been loaded up, decent offense from what we've seen. So, I'm not too worried about it. Not too worried about it. So, but I appreciate that, Bailey. Shout out, Bailey. Thank you for the contribution. Niner Nature's calling you guys out. You guys scared? Are you scared? We ain't scared, bruh. We ain't scared. We ain't scared. Corey says, I firmly believe if you put any serviceable quarterback in place of Jimmy, would see the same results. I kind of agree with that. That's kind of what that's I think part of the notion that we're talking about. Trey Lance has the ability to not be perfect because we have a good roster. We have a good defense. We saw how many times that defense kept the 49ers in games. A lot of times. So, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not. Do I expect Trey Lance to be perfect? No. Do I look at a ceiling and see potential top 10, top 8? Even I would say his ultimate ceiling, if we're talking statistical categories, his ceiling is top 5. That's what is so intriguing about Trey Lance. But what's his floor? I don't know. His floor could be top 18, where they come out and are run heavy. They're pounding the rock because they can with Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, TDP, Jordan Mason, Trey Sermon. So there's a range of outcome. He can be that guy that comes out and lights the world on fire. But he can also be that guy where they play within the structure of the offense. They still run the football a ton. And he doesn't lose them games. So this is a good one. That's kind of true. Trey's floor is Jimmy Garoppolo, but with 5 rushing touchdowns. I think that's fair. I think that's actually pretty fair. For the amount of trolling Big Jordan does in here, I actually think this is one of his best comments. Well done. Well done. I actually don't think that's too bad. I think that's a great kind of great way of contextualizing it. Trey's floor is kind of Jimmy Garoppolo with 5 rushing touchdowns. Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 3,800 passing yards last year. It's not bad. Was it because Jimmy Garoppolo was an insane deep ball thrower? I don't think so. I think deep down, Big Jordan really wants Trey, and is really upset that the Panthers didn't draft Justin Fields, and they got stuck with Sam Darnold. I think the air yards is going to be one of the biggest things that we see from Trey Lance opposed to Jimmy. I think the air yards are going to pick up quite a bit. I think air yards wise, I think Trey Lance is going to be in the upper echelon. Like when you can talk about air yards, I really do believe Trey is going to push the ball downfield. He has the guys to do it, and I think he's going to take advantage of it. again, you add that speed with Danny Gray. If he can get on the field, matched with Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, George Kittle working across the middle, like there's a big range of outcome there. And I do think we see an uptick in air yards for sure. So looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it. But I think that's going to be it for today. I appreciate everyone tapping in. We're getting closer and closer to training camp. Getting closer and closer. Almost there. You can almost smell it. You can almost smell it. So very excited as we continue to inch closer to a potential Jimmy Garoppolo trade, a potential Deebo Samuel extension. It's all very exciting because we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. So I can't wait. But until then, we will continue. We will continue to debate. We will continue to debate. I got you, my guy. Glad we gave you some entertainment while you were at work. Appreciate you guys. You guys know what to do. Any lurkers out there, smash that like button if you haven't already. Hit that sub button. If you haven't subbed yet and you're not a part of the SDS, what are you doing? What are you doing? Again, hit that noti bell whenever we go live. Appreciate you, my boy. I'm hyped for that Jordan Mason hive, man. I'm telling you. I'm hyped for that Jordan Mason hive. Deebo, that like button. You already know the vibes. Shout out Niner by Nature. Hit that join button. If you're really about that life. I mean, this is a good question. And shout out the residency dome. Shout out the residency dome, BMAC. Again, if you want to get your residency dome, I haven't done my part. You know what to do. Go to residency.com. Use the promo code DSF9ers. But back to the original question. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know. But I don't know. We'll find maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. But we'll see what I don't know if that will be it. I don't know if there's anything to really make of it. Obviously it got a lot of 49er fans hyped up for tight end U, but you still had Zach Wilson show up. And you had did CJ show up? I think CJ showed up. And you had Josh Allen. So very excited. Very excited for what's to come. So appreciate you guys. And that will be it for today. We went kind of long today. Almost an hour, 40 minutes. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Shout out all you guys. Appreciate you. Big season coming up. Plenty of things cooking. We're starting to get back to the regular scheduled programming. State of the Franchise with Aponte should be back tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. Tap in with us probably around our typical time, around 1:30. So keep an eye out, ear out for the State of the Franchise. Again, hit those noties. Make sure you don't miss it. And we will be back tomorrow. But in the meantime, appreciate you all. Thank you for tapping in. We out of here. Peace.